Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share a message that has the power to transform your life from the inside out. It's about the incredible strength you hold when you focus on yourself, shift your energy positively, and let peace be your guiding light. When you really sit down and think about it, the most powerful thing you can do for yourself is to focus on you. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But in truth, it's one of the most revolutionary acts you can undertake. Our world is so loud, so full of distractions and opinions, that it's easy to lose sight of who we are. We get caught up in the hustle, in trying to keep up with everyone else's expectations, in living according to a script that's been written by the world around us. But what if, just for a moment, you decided to press pause? What if you chose to turn inward and really examine what's happening inside of you? Because the truth is, real growth begins when we stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward for clarity. Focusing on yourself isn't about selfishness. It's about self-preservation. It's about recognizing that your well-being, the health of your mind, your soul, your heart is the foundation upon which everything else is built. When you focus on you, you begin to understand your true needs, your boundaries, your passions, and your purpose. It's a deep dive into the core of who you are, stripping away the layers of noise and distraction that have accumulated over the years. Sometimes we carry burdens that aren't even ours, and those burdens weigh us down, cloud our vision, and prevent us from living authentically. When you focus on yourself, you start to identify those burdens, those false beliefs, and those unhealthy patterns that have been holding you hostage. But focusing on yourself is not a one-time act. It's a daily intentional practice. It's choosing to start each day with a moment of reflection, asking yourself, what do I need today? How am I feeling? What's really going on beneath the surface? It's about cultivating self-awareness so that you can recognize your emotions, your triggers, and your desires. And as you do this, you discover that many of the struggles you face aren't external, they're internal. Self-awareness becomes the key that unlocks your ability to respond with intention rather than react out of habit or pain. When you focus on yourself, you also begin to understand the importance of boundaries. Boundaries are not barriers meant to keep people out. They are guardrails that protect your peace. They help you preserve your energy and ensure that you're not pouring from an empty cup. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. It's about knowing when to say no, even when everyone else is saying yes. It's about honoring your limits, your values, and your needs. Because the truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving to others without taking time for yourself, you'll eventually run dry. Focusing on you means recognizing that your well-being matters, that your mental health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health are all interconnected and deserve your attention. There's also a profound freedom in choosing to focus on yourself. It's in that space that you begin to shed what no longer serves you, whether it's unhealthy relationships, limiting beliefs, or outdated habits. When you focus inward, you start to see your worth clearly and understand that your value isn't determined by anyone else's opinion. It's rooted in who you are at your core, a divine creation with unique gifts, dreams, and purpose. This focus helps you silence the noise of comparison and competition because you realize that your journey is unique. You're not meant to compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Instead, you focus on your growth and celebrate your progress. Focusing on you also means taking responsibility for your life. It's easy to blame circumstances, other people, or even your past for where you are today. But true focus requires honesty. It calls you to look in the mirror and ask, what am I doing that's holding me back? What patterns do I need to break? What narratives am I still believing that aren't serving me? Self-focus is about owning your story, your choices, and your power to change. It's about acknowledging that your life is a reflection of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. When you take responsibility, you empower yourself to make different choices, to change your direction, and to become the person you're truly meant to be. This level of focus isn't always easy. It requires courage to face parts of yourself that you might prefer to ignore. It demands vulnerability, admitting that you're not perfect, that you have flaws, and that you're still growing. But that vulnerability is the breeding ground for transformation. When you focus on you with honesty and grace, you create space for healing, for renewal, and for authentic joy to emerge. You learn to love yourself not in spite of your imperfections, but because of them. You realize that your flaws are part of your story and they make you beautifully human. In focusing on yourself, you also start to listen more intentionally. Instead of filling every quiet moment with noise or distraction, you become attuned to your inner voice. That voice might be faint at first, drowned out by the chaos of life. But with practice, it becomes clearer. It's that gentle whisper reminding you of your worth, your dreams, and your divine purpose. Learning to listen to that voice is a vital part of your growth because it guides you toward decisions aligned with your truest self. When you focus on you, you're not just seeking external validation, you're seeking internal alignment. The act of focusing on yourself is a radical act of self-love and self-awareness. It's a declaration that you matter, that your well-being is worth prioritizing even when the world tells you otherwise. It's about understanding that your life is a gift, and it's up to you to nurture it, protect it, and cultivate it. When you focus on yourself, you're laying the groundwork for everything else to flourish. Your relationships, your work, your dreams. You can't pour from an empty cup. And so your first responsibility is to fill yourself up with truth, love, and peace. This is the foundation from which all other good things will flow. Focusing on you is an ongoing journey, not a destination. It's about showing up for yourself every day, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. It's about being honest with yourself, forgiving yourself, and giving yourself permission to grow. It's about understanding that your worth is not determined by external circumstances or other people's opinions, but by your intrinsic value as a divine creation. When you start to prioritize your inner world, everything else begins to align. Your confidence increases, your clarity sharpens, and your purpose becomes more evident. And as you walk this path, you realize that the greatest act of love you can give yourself is to focus on your own healing, growth, and peace. Understanding the importance of inner peace is like discovering the secret ingredient that transforms a simple meal into a soul-nourishing feast. It's not something you can buy or acquire from the outside. It's a state of being that you cultivate from within. When life storms rage around you and chaos seems to be the default setting of the world, the real challenge becomes maintaining your peace. Because peace isn't just the absence of trouble. It's a resilient, active force that keeps you centered, grounded, and rooted in truth, even when everything else is shaking. It's the quiet strength that whispers, "You are safe, you are loved, you are enough," amid the noise of doubt and fear. When you begin to understand that peace is your divine inheritance, everything shifts. It's not a fleeting emotion, but a deep, abiding presence that sustains you through every season. It's the anchor that holds you steady when the waves of life threaten to overturn your boat. It's the calm that remains when chaos erupts around you because, deep down, you've learned to anchor yourself in something greater than circumstances. That greater force isn't distant or disconnected. It's within you. Your inner peace is rooted in knowing your worth, trusting your journey, and surrendering control over what you cannot change. But let's be honest, cultivating peace isn't always easy. It requires intentionality and discipline. It's about choosing not to let external noise drown out your internal melody. It's about learning to breathe deeply, to pause, and to remind yourself that your peace isn't dependent on everything going right, but on your choice to respond with calm and confidence. When you're faced with disappointment, frustration, or failure, your immediate instinct might be to react defensively, to lash out, or to retreat into worry. But true peace prompts you to pause, to reflect, and to respond from a place of strength rather than reaction. It's in those moments that you discover the power of inner calm, when you refuse to be pulled into the storm and instead become the eye of the hurricane, centered and unshaken. Inner peace isn't passive, it's active. It's a choice you make every day, a discipline you cultivate through practices like gratitude prayer, meditation, or simply choosing thoughts that uplift rather than tear down. It's listening to that quiet voice within that says, "You are more than your circumstances," and acting accordingly. When you embrace peace as a guiding principle, you begin to see life through a different lens. Problems become opportunities for growth, setbacks become setups for a comeback, and difficulties become lessons in resilience. Your peace becomes a shield that protects your heart and a lens that helps you see beyond the temporary to the eternal. Letting peace lead also means surrendering the illusion of control. We often cling to the false belief that we can manage everything, fix everything, or make everything turn out exactly as we want. But life teaches us otherwise. Control is an illusion, and trying to hold on to it only creates more stress and frustration. True peace comes when you realize that some things are beyond your power, but nothing is beyond your faith. When you surrender the need to control every outcome, You open your hands and your heart to trust the process. You begin to see that life is a dance, not a battle to be won, but a journey to be embraced. Surrendering control doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that what's meant for you will come to you at the right time, in the right way. It means releasing the grip of anxiety and embracing the flow of life with confidence and calm. When you let peace lead, you're not passive, you're active in trusting, in forgiving, and in choosing love over fear. You're learning to accept what is, to be grateful for what you have, and to believe that the best is yet to come. It's about aligning your heart with the divine rhythm of life and moving in harmony with it, rather than fighting against it. The more you lean into peace, the more you realize that it's not just a personal benefit, it's a witness to others. Your calmness, your resilience, and your unwavering hope become a beacon of light for those around you. When people see someone who isn't easily shaken, who responds with kindness and patience even in difficult moments, it inspires them to seek that same peace within themselves. Your inner tranquility can become a catalyst for transformation, not just in your life, but in the lives of others. It's a ripple effect that starts with you but extends far beyond what you can see. Learning to let peace lead is a journey of trust, patience, and perseverance. It's about choosing to believe that even in the chaos, there is a divine order working behind the scenes. It's understanding that your calmness is a form of resistance, resisting the urge to react out of fear, anger, or frustration. It's about showing up in your truth, standing firm in your values, and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. When you surrender control and let peace be your guide, you're not just surviving, you're thriving on a level that surpasses circumstances. You're stepping into a life where your heart is at rest, your mind is clear, and your spirit is free. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a continuous practice, a daily choice to return to that place of peace, no matter what's happening around you. It's a refusal to let the external dictate your internal state, because the truth is your peace is too precious to be surrendered to worry or chaos. It's a divine gift that you guard fiercely, nurture intentionally, and allow to lead your every step. When you make peace your priority, you're aligning yourself with the divine flow of life, and everything else begins to fall into place. You begin to walk with confidence, knowing that no matter what comes, you've got a peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that keeps your heart steady and your mind focused on what truly matters. There's something profound about recognizing the power of your voice, about understanding that what you speak over your life has the potential to shape your reality. Your words are not just sounds or vibrations in the air. They are seeds planted deep within the soil of your soul. When you speak life, hope, and faith, you're planting seeds that will grow into strength, resilience, and breakthroughs. But when you speak despair, doubt, or fear, those seeds can also take root, growing into barriers that hinder your progress. The truth is, your voice matters more than you realize. It's a divine instrument that can either build up or break down, uplift or diminish, encourage or discourage. Many of us underestimate the power of our words because we don't see immediate change. We speak affirmations and declarations, yet the circumstances around us seem unchanged, and so we begin to doubt the potency of our speech. But growth isn't always visible right away. Sometimes, the most significant work happens beneath the surface, in the unseen soil of your mind and spirit. Every time you declare truth over yourself, you're rewiring your mindsets, reshaping your beliefs, and building a foundation for a different future. It's like planting a seed in the dark. You don't see the sprout immediately, but you trust that with consistent watering and care, something beautiful is taking root. Understanding that your words are powerful also means recognizing the importance of speaking with intention. It's about aligning your words with your purpose, your faith, and your deepest desires. When you declare what you want rather than what you fear, you're shifting the energy of your life. You're creating a new narrative, one that is rooted in hope, possibility, and divine promise. Speaking life doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to see beyond the temporary and speak to the eternal. It's about declaring that your current situation does not define you, and your future is shaped by the words you speak today. But speaking life is not just about random affirmations. It's about cultivating a mindset of abundance and gratitude. When you focus on what's good, what is working, and what you're thankful for, you open the door for more blessings to flow. Gratitude becomes the language of faith. It shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance. It's a reminder that even in the midst of difficulty, there are still things to be grateful for: your health, your strength, your resilience, your purpose. When you practice gratitude regularly, you begin to speak in a way that attracts more reasons to be grateful. Your words become a magnet for miracles. There's also a vital lesson in learning how to silence your inner critic. We often become our own worst enemies, whispering doubts and fears that sabotage our progress before we even get started. When that voice of negativity tries to creep in, you have to be intentional about replacing it with truth. You have to speak louder than the doubts and declare, I am capable, I am worthy, I am enough. Your inner dialogue should be a reflection of divine truth, not the lies that have been told to you or that you've believed about yourself. When you begin to speak to yourself with kindness and conviction, you're rewiring your mind for success. It's also essential to understand that your voice isn't just for yourself, it's a gift to others. Your words have the power to inspire, uplift, and ignite hope in someone who feels forgotten or overlooked. When you speak life over others, you participate in divine work. Your encouragement can be the very thing that gives someone the strength to keep going. It's a reminder that we are not meant to live in isolation, but to be vessels of love and hope. Your voice can be a source of light in someone's darkness, a reminder that they are seen, valued, and loved beyond measure. Learning to speak life and truth over your circumstances requires courage. It takes boldness to declare what you want when everything around you suggests otherwise. It's about standing firm in faith even when your feelings tell you to give up. Because feelings are fleeting, but truth is eternal. When you speak from a place of faith, you're aligning your words with divine power. Your declarations become prayers, and prayers are powerful when spoken with conviction. They set the course for your future, establishing a new reality based on divine promises rather than temporary circumstances. You also have to understand that your words can be a form of resistance. Resistance against everything that tries to diminish your worth, your dreams, or your divine calling. When you declare that you are more than a conqueror, that you are rooted in love, that you are resilient and victorious, you're resisting the lies of the enemy and the limitations the world tries to place on you. Your words become a declaration of war against discouragement and despair. They remind you that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but a victor through faith. Building a life of intentional speech also means cultivating patience. Sometimes the words we speak don't manifest immediately, and that can be discouraging. But patience is part of the process. It's trusting that your words are working behind the scenes even when you don't see the results right away. It's about standing firm in your declarations and knowing that divine timing is perfect. When you speak life and trust the process, you're aligning yourself with divine rhythm. You understand that your words are seeds, and sometimes they need time to germinate and grow into the full manifestation of God's promises. Your voice is also a gift of influence. It's an opportunity to shape the culture around you, to speak up for justice, to advocate for truth, to uplift the voiceless. When you recognize the power of your voice, you realize that your influence extends far beyond your immediate circle. Your words can dismantle barriers, build bridges, and create new pathways for others to walk in hope and freedom. It's a divine responsibility and privilege to use your voice to make a difference, to speak life into situations that seem hopeless, and to encourage others to believe again. The journey to mastering the art of speaking life is ongoing. It's a daily discipline of choosing words that build rather than break, that uplift rather than tear down. It's about speaking with conviction and clarity, knowing that every word carries weight in the spiritual realm. When you speak life, you're aligning yourself with divine purpose and divine power. You're consciously shaping your reality with every declaration, every affirmation, every prayer. Your words are your tools for creation, your instruments of faith, your declarations of hope. As you continue to speak life over yourself, your circumstances, and others, you're stepping into the fullness of who you're meant to be, an empowered, victorious, and influential voice in this world.